talked about adultery the other day, and specifically what Solomon had to say about it in the book of Proverbs. And a common comment that I received on that was essentially people saying, dude, we're really going to take Solomon's advice on this topic. The guy had 700 wives. And on the surface, that might seem like a fair point, but I want to point out a couple things. First of all, like the definition of adultery, we could get into that. And was Solomon committing it with 700 wives and all that? That's, you can go debate with a wall on that one. I'm not going to argue. I believe that God created marriage to be between one man and one woman. Now, things were different back then, and was that technically considered adultery? Again, go argue with the wall. I think that it's a version of it for sure, even in that time. But that's not the point I want to make. A couple things. First of all, Solomon, at the beginning of Proverbs, deals with this. Anyone that's going to question what he's talking about, he basically says, hey, all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is from God. He says right out of the gate that essentially everything I'm about to share ultimately isn't coming from me, it's coming from God. Even though it's the words of Solomon, the fact that it's in Scripture tells us that God is the source of that wisdom. He wanted us, God did, wanted us to know what Solomon had to say on adultery or anything else, because God was the ultimate source of that. But the other side of that, no matter the topic, there's two types of knowledge. There's intellectual knowledge and there's experiential knowledge. If I'm trying to help somebody out of a drug addiction, let's say, and I myself have never been a drug addict, I can only help them from an intellectual knowledge. If I have been a drug addict and I've come out of that, I can now help them from an experiential knowledge. I've been there and done that. And I think that carries more weight, in my opinion. If you want to discredit Solomon's wisdom on the topic of adultery because it seems like something that he struggled with himself, then I'd say that's a matter of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as the saying goes. And in that case, I'm not sure you can really take much advice or wisdom from anybody, because none of us are perfect. Obviously, Solomon's experience is extreme, but doesn't that also make his experiential knowledge extreme on the subject? Just my 2 cents.